Welcome to episode 12 of Chris's Moto Life. Glad to have you back. It's a nice hot day today. I think we're up to about 95, 96. Before we start today on the Ducati 900 SS, I need to make a retraction from last week when I said that in 1989 Porsche was still selling the 3.2 Carrera, and I mistakenly said C4S. It was a C4 that they sold, and I even checked that on that because I didn't know which one that they were selling. For some odd reason I threw an S on there. I'm probably senile, that's all. Okay, number two. A lot of people have expressed some concerns over me jumping on the bike and going up the street. For full disclosure, when I'm really going on a motorcycle ride, I wear full body armor and I wear a helmet. I just kind of do this tongue-in-cheek when I go up my street. I just pull up to the corner, so I'm only going a block. So just everybody, you ride how you want to ride. Don't let me tell you, but I generally do wear a lot of safety gear. Okay, now that that's out, let's introduce you to my 1994 Ducati 900 SS SP. This bike's got a lot of funny things about it. This is the only bike that I have ever, bike or car, that I have ever had a pre-purchase inspection done. And guess which bike or car has cost me the most amount of money and was the worst vehicle that I have ever bought? It was this one. It's obviously not bad right now, but it was bad and took a lot of sorting. Why don't we go through it? 1994 Ducati 900 SS. This is an SP model. This took, SP is for sport production. It took the place of the Superlight. What they did is, to make it later, you got a carbon fiber front fender, you had a carbon fiber clutch cover, carbon fiber chain cover, and then you also had an aluminum swing arm and a carbon fiber rear hugger. This is number 115. I've been trying to figure out how many of them they made, how many SPs were made in that time. In Ian Falloon's book, the best that I could estimate is maybe 500-600 of these SP variants came over. This particular one was owned by a soldier in the U.S. Army who picked this up at the factory, which I think was pretty cool. The way and then additionally, once I had his name as the original owner, I tracked him down on Facebook. We're still friends to this day. Chris Bouchard, you have great taste in bikes. So, getting back to what was done to this bike, you'll notice I got an extra swing arm. This aluminum swing arm that was so touted as being so lightweight, cracked. Two of them I've had cracked. This one was re-welded and cracked again. The gas tank. I had to replace the gas tank this week because I had a leak in this original gas tank. So, let's go through the bike. Front brakes, I really didn't have to rebuild them, but I did a fluid flush and I put stainless steel brake lines on it. I put a stainless brake line on the clutch. Gas tank, fairing, all have been repainted by a great painter. His name is Doug Summer, Toy Box Customs. Let me know if you need anything painted. He does a great job for a great price. So we had to have all this repainted. Let's get to the engine. The engine that my pre-purchase inspection guy told me was fine was just completely shot. It had a 944 kit on it, which was a great option, but it burned oil. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine said I used to mosquito fog him every time we'd go for a ride when the oil would shoot out the back. Okay, all that being said, you probably think I hate this bike and I'm complaining. I really don't, because you know, a lot of really cool things happened as a result of buying this bike. There were some very serendipitous moments. In fact, when the engine was bad, I went onto eBay and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just buy a new engine. Well, darn if I didn't find this engine in Scituate, Rhode Island for $400, and it tested out perfect. So I took the whole bike apart, put the new engine in. I've been riding it happily ever since, and I have an engine that's already torn down. Meaning I have a second engine, so I have a whole supply of parts. It worked out pretty well. A lot of my parts I've gotten from a man by the name of Nick Anglada. He's from Florida, and he runs a used Ducati parts company of all things called Black Label Mechanica. Nick, I hope I pronounced that right. He sourced me this rear swing arm from a Japanese variant, and it was just so reasonable. It was like $250. There are people out there that are going to try and bang you over the head on Ducati parts, acting like they're gold. Nick is not like that. Nick is a straight shooter. He is the best. This particular model has Mikuni flat side carburetors on it, which really, really wake up the bike. So another story, I took these to a so-called expert Ducati mechanic and had them rebuilt. The guy happy to charge me. So when I got them back and I put them on the bike, I went around the block and they were just leaking gas all over the place. From that point on, I did all the work myself on the bike. I've so far put new belts on this bike. I rebuilt the carbs again myself. I sourced through Sudco. I was able to get new needles and seats. I did it myself. They've been flawless ever since. This bike is really, really a lot of fun. Another serendipitous moment happened this morning. I'm at Cars and Coffee and a friend of mine said, hey, he looked at my bike and he said, hey, I had the 750 variant of your motorcycle and I still have the saddlebags and tank bag in soft luggage from when I took a trip. Do you want it for $50? Well, yeah, I had been looking at this. I had been looking for those bags for probably 3 or 4 years now, and nobody was able to help me. And the guy lived right around the corner from me, which was definitely a cool thing. Interesting thing about this motorcycle is that even though it has Ducati on the tank, it was built during the Cagiva days, hence my shirt. Cagiva was a holding company that had to go in and bail out Ducati because it seems like Italian companies change ownership a lot. And Cagiva went in, they designed this bike, and this is considered a sports production bike, not as extreme as the 916 that you all know. This is a really nice backwoods bike. Backroads bike, not backwoods. I take this up the turnpike. I go to the Rockers Roll in Pittston, PA, small town at its best. And I just do a lot of fun riding around on this. It's a very, very relaxed motorcycle. So the bottom line is I bought this, everything went wrong, I've rebuilt it, and the bike is now flawless. So if anybody is looking for an interesting motorcycle, I was told to get a 900 SS by the guys in the Red Duck Club. That's a Ducati club that I met at the racetrack. It was the Ducati people that are making me go to the racetrack. They put a gun to my head and forced me onto the racetrack. I'm kidding you, but they just made it look like so much fun that it had to be done. All right, that's about all I'm gonna say about this bike. Why don't we fire it off and we'll do our traditional ending. And as always, I really appreciate your tuning in to Chris's Moto Life, and I want you all to have an incredibly awesome week ahead. Let's get this puppy started. You'll see me leaning down here. We have an extra fuel tap in the front so that I don't have to lift the tank up. Another thing that I did to sort this motorcycle out. Let's see if it'll start up for us.